Hello, and welcome to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway podcast. That's right. Your host and tour guide is Scott Prevett, a healer, hypnotist, and a magician. And your bus driver is Jason Gobelli, also a hypnotist, an entrepreneur, and a spiritual guide. Disclaimer, neither Jason, Scott, or any of our guests here today are licensed professional psychologists or psychiatrists. So please don't make any changes to any medication or treatments that you are currently on based on the conversation that you hear here today. Just hop on the bus and enjoy the ride. Trip with us on the Inner Revelation bus. That's right.
Hi, I'm Jason Gobelli, and welcome back to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway. We're pretty excited today. We got a great guest. We got Lenora Edwards. Lenora, how are you?
I am great. How are you, Jason and Scott?
Great. Scott's having
welcome.
That's right, there he is. Hey, Scott. Scott's having a little bit of technical difficulties today, so we're just going to show a picture of him instead of his actual talking. But anyway, yes, we can put Scott in our prayers or whatever because he got hit by that hurricane in Florida. Anyway, we're glad to have you here, Lenora. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm ecstatic to be here. We booked this ages ago, so this is great.
That's right. We booked it ages ago. We've been looking forward to having you. And now, before anything else, let me ask you the first question. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, that's a fantastic question. Thank you so much for sharing my name. That is super important. So my name is Lenora Edwards, and I am an emotional eating specialist and an eating disorder expert. And I help people, quite literally, have a much better relationship with food, their emotions, and their body.
Nice. So this emotional eating thing, does that come from experience? Did you have some experience with emotional eating problems? And tell us that story and what it's all about.
I am an expert by experience. Yes, I actually battled an eating disorder and emotional eating for well over 2 decades of my life. And I shared a little bit of this in my TEDx. And my TEDx is called How to Stop the Negative Voices in Your Head. And when you find that you have an inner critic and your inner critic will not be quiet, you have to find ways to cope. And one of the ways that I would cope, among the many variations that food gets attached to, one of the ways that I would cope with that was eating and also having quite a difficult time. And the entire time that I was experiencing this, I found that I was looking for solutions. I wouldn't talk to anybody about it, but thanks to the wonderful World Wide Web, I was able to find a variety of solutions, which helped me along the way. But everything changed when I found myself sitting in the dentist chair, getting another false tooth as a result of my eating disorder. And I finally listened to the voice that said, maybe there's something you just don't know yet. And I finally decided to reach out to professionals for help. And my life has been astronomically better and much different ever since.
So what were you running from?
Oh, we don't have enough time to list what I was running from, but we can definitely talk about the things that I've faced and how I've overcome them.
Sure.
Yeah. So especially when it comes to an inner critic, those negative voices, they can truly, as I'm sure many people know, they can dominate your day. And one of the things that I absolutely love about personal growth and the self-help community is that there's so many people offering insights, but nobody was able to really answer my question of how do you stop the voices? And other than being met with, we'll just think a better thought. That didn't help so much. And I will add a quick side note. In the realm of personal growth, in the realm of self-help, I'm working on a rebrand. So if you guys can help me with this rebrand, this would be great. The rebrand should be help yourself. Help yourself. Come to this community, help yourself. Try meditation, try some of this, try some of that. It should be considered the smorgasbord of your life, and it should be so inviting and so welcoming. So that is my rebrand, where we're going to start calling this community the Help Yourself community, because the more you can help yourself, the more you can help other people. See? Buffet.
So is this like a book idea that you got stemming down here?
It might be a book idea. It's definitely an idea for my next TEDx. So I will keep you posted.
Nice. So let's talk about this for about a second. So let's go into this into some depth here. So how do we help ourselves? I mean, what's
How
the
do
direction that we need to go for this?
I personally think the best way to help yourself is to be curious, to be open-minded, and to really allow it to be something that you practice each day. How can I help myself? And rather than thinking that it's something selfish, as in that it comes with a negative connotation, getting excited for ways to help yourself, to support yourself, to care for yourself, to find ways to meet all the things that you need, because then you can give more to other people. And it really creates this beautiful balance and this beautiful way of living of giving and receiving. So when it comes to helping yourself, definitely be curious, definitely be playful about it, as in, how do I shift my language? Play with your language. Everything starts in the mind. Start getting playful with your language, especially the tone that you use to talk to yourself.
Nice. So, being a guy that can easily put on a few pounds here, let me tell you, help yourself. That can all take me down a scary path.
It can, if you're talking about the food and you're talking about, as in, I want to enjoy my food, but now I'm helping myself to 15 hamburgers, might not be the most beneficial, because then you're going to help yourself to enjoying it, but also you're not going to feel so good afterwards. So paying attention to how you feel when you help yourself is really, really important. Does it make you feel better? Do you feel supported? Do you feel inspired? Do you feel encouraged? Or do you feel that now you're weighed down? Now it's holding you back. Now it's keeping you stuck.
So, do
So
you
when
feel that sometimes some of the ways that we try to help ourselves is actually the issue because we're going in a different direction than what we should really be going?
you definitely could. I find that if you go in a direction, any direction, you will get redirected if it's not meant for you. So when you're looking for ways to help yourself, get curious about what's helping you. And there is a very specific way to notice if you're helping yourself. When I have a problem, I'm going to go with the general one. I have a problem. Am I looking for ways to complain about my problem? Am I looking for ways to whine about my problem? Am I looking for these other things that will hold me in this victim mentality? Or am I looking for solutions to a challenge? Am I looking for potential ideas on how I can navigate this challenge? So we just approached one thing in two very different ways. We can notice the problem and complain about it and hold ourselves in the problem, or we can notice it, acknowledge that it's a challenge, and how do we want to navigate around it, under it, over it? We don't want to ignore it and pretend that it's not there. We definitely want to address it, and we want to address it in a way that's helpful to us. Are we helping ourselves or are we hurting ourselves?
Well, you sound like someone who likes to solve problems.
I do like to solve problems. How did you know?
Are you a crossword type person?
No, I'm terrible at crosswords. I can do word searches like a rock star. But if I'm going to sit down and do a crossword, that clue better be super easy, as in, what has four legs, barks, and says woof? It's a three-letter word. That is the Barney style
Okay, I get
crossword that I like. Other problems I'm great at. Crosswords, not so much. Don't ask me to be included in a crossword.
So, word search over crosswords means you like to look at the bigger picture of things.
Ooh, look at that perspective. What a shift. Yeah, I do like to look at the bigger perspective.
So, now let's talk about the bigger picture about help yourself. What's that all about?
As people get curious on finding ways to help themselves, you're going to be met with so many ideas. So, are you going to argue for why it can't help you, or are you going to be curious as to how you might be able to apply it to your life? So, even look at all the work that we have in common. We get really curious when people are experiencing problems and challenges. And when we can approach it as, let's say again, I have a problem. I'm not the problem. I have a whole bunch of problems. When I started to reach out to professionals and ask them, I very specifically went to people that did not know me, that had no idea who I was, because the people that knew me would address me as the fact that I have and I had the problem. Like, it wasn't out on the table. They were too busy judging me and shaming me and guilting me about the things that I would go through and the things that I was experiencing. So I made sure not to tell a single soul about the things that I was experiencing, because I was already getting judgment and shame and guilt from, just everyday things. So this very specific issue, so in my case, my eating disorder and emotional eating, I knew it was a problem. I knew it was impacting my life in a very drastic, serious way. When I started to reach out to professionals, I was extraordinarily careful with who I went to. How were they speaking to me? Did I feel like I was the problem, or were they letting me have a conversation with them and we were talking about the problems that were out in front of me? And it's slight, but very distinct difference. So when you start to work with professionals and they're offering you solutions, notice their tone that they're coming at you with. If you're going to feel shamed, if you're going to feel guilted, if you're going to feel put down, your walls are going to go up immediately, and that's not your person. You want to keep being curious. It's not that hypnotherapy doesn't work, and it's not that hypnosis doesn't work, and it's not that talk therapy doesn't work. How does it help you? How do you perceive that to help you? When you can say, oh, this is helping me, this is great, I can help myself to this experience, get the most out of it, and then go forward.
So you find that it helps working with professionals, but how about working with that person who's been through it and actually has the experience and knows a way out and knows freedom from that problem?
Absolutely. And I love that. And when it's a person who's experienced it, I think it comes with a different level, because they know how much pain they were in. I didn't wake up one day and think, oh, let me be an expert in this. I truly experienced it. I have 2 degrees. I have a master's and a bachelor's, both in speech-language pathology. Has nothing most people would consider, well, how do you do eating disorders? What does that have to do with? It doesn't make cohesive sense. When people hear that I experienced that, when they hear my story, they go, oh, this person gets it. They know the pain that was involved. They know the shame that was involved. They know how I feel at my absolute worst, because they're able to have a conversation about it. And they're also able to quite literally let me feel that I'm okay talking about these things that I used to feel were absolutely humiliating to me. I told many people since I would have sooner taken it to the grave than told somebody I had an eating disorder. I've now stood on a stage and told people that I experienced this. And I do that because of the profound shifts that I've experienced in finding ways to help myself and finding ways to get stronger.
So in a way, what you're trying to say, that exposure to the light diminishes the whole problem.
Look at that. I'm loving these metaphors you're coming in and out of. These are great.
So
But
is
yeah,
that it?
yeah, absolutely.
So now there's no fear of saying what happened and talking about that shame and that pain.
No, no. It's unfortunate that people feel that it's so embarrassing and that it's so humiliating and that it's this thing that they have to hide from people. It's unfortunate. The fortunate thing is that there are people like you. There are people that are in this community that are saying, I know what that felt like, and I don't want anybody to feel like that. So when somebody shares that with me, it's okay. I'm going to sit and I'm going to listen. I'm going to be patient. They're not the problem. They're having challenges. It's out on front. And when we get to notice and somebody comes to you and says, I'm having this awful problem, they're in that space, they're in that vicinity where they know for sure they're not going to be judged, they're not going to be shamed, and they have somebody to look at it with. And that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, so that's what makes you so special, Lenora, right? It's because not because of your education, not because of the hypnosis, not because of what you've done, but because of who you are and that you've been through it and that you've actually felt that and know your way out. Isn't that correct?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes. Nice. So is that all you work with, or do there other things that you focus on, or is that like your main thing?
That is my main thing. The other thing is that I often focus on is the voices in our head, because they will control everything that we do. How are we talking to ourselves? So I love one of the techniques that I actually shared. I just finished a free 5-day challenge, and it was the Mindful Eating Reset Challenge. And I was able to share for 5 days all about emotional eating and eating disorders and helping other people understand their blocks of weight loss, like what else is going on. One of the things that I shared was a technique and a protocol that I am known for, and it is called the S.H.I.F.T protocol. And I will absolutely share it with you so you have it in your show notes and your listeners can have it. And when we're shifting the voices in our head, we quite literally want to be able to shift. When we shift, we have to spot the thought. So we have to spot that negative thought first. H, we have to hear it. And this is key. When we hear that negative thought, whose voice is it? Who's saying it? Is it your voice, or is it an echo of somebody else that put you down? Is it an echo of somebody else that you heard in your environment? Whose voice is it? Then you want to investigate it. Is this helping you? Is this hurting you? Likely helping you, even though it kind of seems weird that a voice in your head might be screaming something at you and you're thinking, how are you helping me? It's trying to protect you. So then you want to start to F. You want to frame it. Who can come in that would help you navigate around this thought? Do you need a best friend to come in that would say, no, that's not true. That definitely is not true. Do you need an angel to come in? Who else can come in to help you frame this thought in a different way? And then T is for trade it in. Trade it in for a more helpful thought. So that's how you shift your negative thoughts. You spot it, you hear it, you investigate it, you frame it, and then you trade it in for another thought. And that is the S.H.I.F.T protocol. You can do it anywhere, anytime, for any reason.
Wonderful. So is the S.H.I.F.T protocol going into your Help Yourself book?
One day we're going to get there. We're definitely going to write the book. I did write a book about holographic memory resolution with the creator. And holographic memory resolution is an amazing emotional reframing technique that speaks in the language of the nervous system. And the language of the nervous system is different than the language that we speak. Language of the nervous system is in colors, shapes, sizes, textures, sounds. Especially in our community, we all know about this because we understand the subconscious mind. When we get that sinking feeling in the pit of our stomach, it's our subconscious going, hey, this is where we store this information. This is what it feels like, and this is the location. Holographic memory resolution is a technique that truly helps us reframe the experiences without reliving the pain or the trauma. And the person that created this technique his name is Brent Baum, and he was an amazing teacher and still is to me. And I ended up being certified in this technique. And as I was preparing to go speak in the conference at Mid-America last year, I was writing about this, and I wanted to give it to the people that were going to come into my class. And I shared it with Brent, and he goes, this is so good. Can I share some information, and then we'll co-author it? Like, yes, please. So that is free on my website, among a few other ebooks that are on my website. But yes, officially.
Wonderful.
We'll eventually get there.
So now let's take a shift for a second.
Let's shift.
So when you were in all that pain, all that suffering, and you were going through all this stuff, when did you have that aha moment? Like, oh, I'm going to be able to get through this. Everything's all right. I'm going to be able to help others. When did you have that aha moment? And what's that all about?
When I had that moment, I could literally feel the block that I was having at that time. And when we're doing certain things, when we're doing certain behaviors, people will often ask, especially in our community as a hypnotist or as a hypnotherapist, they'll ask, well, how do you know? How do you know it's time to do X? How do you know? What's the pattern you're running? And my coach had asked me, how do you know? And I knew exactly this is the time that I have to go do X, Y, Z. And in that session that I was going through, I could literally feel it come out of my body, which I know might sound a little far-fetched, but I could literally feel the release. And when I came to the end of that session, it was this, oh, that's what I need to be doing with my life. That's why I went through all of this. This is what I need to be doing with my life. And I went back and I got certified in every technique, and over time, built those skills up and really started to have a much deeper understanding as to not why I went through what I went through, but how I could help other people. And that's what matters the most.
Boy, for you, it sounds like it was almost an instant awakening, like maybe the voice of God.
It was like a gold wave. So I could literally feel it come on, and I could feel that release shift, and it was extraordinarily powerful. So perhaps it was.
So
You and
then,
these metaphors.
so then, what about then these? Now that you've had this and this, who were the mentors? Those people that have guided you to, enhance and grow from where you're at, from where you were to where you are.
So many spectacular people have helped me along the way completely. The first would definitely be YouTube University. That's what I affectionately refer to as youtube.com, as YouTube University. Dr. David Snyder had a ton of insights. TJ Zebel was and still is a phenomenal coach and teacher for me. Dr. Richard Nongard, Jason Lynette, they've all been a part of my experience to getting stronger and to really helping not only myself, but to help other people.
Wonderful, wonderful. Scott, your turn, man. Question.
Awesome. Lenore, I've got a
Hi.
couple things for you. The Facebook group of Help Yourself, what do you expect people to post on there of things that have worked for them, things that they've tried, or what all goes on there?
I love the idea of a Facebook group, and I never thought of this, and I'm definitely going to dive down that rabbit hole right after this recording. For me, I think there's a huge difference between finding ways to help yourself. Okay. So when people say, hey, this helped me, this was really, really, this is what I liked most about it. That's great. When somebody then responds with, no, that's not going to work. No, that's silly. No, all the reasons as to why it might not help, that to me is not helpful. That is somebody who's possibly arguing for their limitations, depending on the delivery. So I'm not going to blanket that with everything. If somebody said, that just didn't really resonate with me, but absolutely try it and ask this person about it because they might be able to better guide you. That is helpful. And it's truly important. And I love Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is a phenomenal speaker and teacher still to this day. And he says, stand guard at the doorway of your mind every day. And when you can start to notice that even our Facebook groups, our conversations, is somebody tearing you down? Is somebody supporting you? What are you reading? You have to be the one that decides, is this helping me or is this hurting me? You literally have to stand guard at the doorway of your mind all the time, because that is the most important, is finding ways to take care of yourself.
Awesome. How about a different direction? Let's change our perspective a little bit and go into the future 10 years from now and look back. What do you hope that you've accomplished?
Oh, I love this question. Wow. 10 years from now, I will hope to have accomplished
You
many,
will have.
many retreats where people have truly felt those shifts and have a much better relationship with food and a much better relationship with their body. And that to me would be an amazing accomplishment.
That's awesome. What about the book?
We'll get to the book. I don't know, but there's a couple of working titles. I'm really liking this Help Yourself title. There's also It Can't Not Happen, because that's what I often say to my husband. It can't not
that's
happen.
a good one.
So yeah.
I like that.
That's funny, because if my wife tells me it can't not happen, I think, uh-oh, I might be in trouble. So let's go on here one more spot here. Let me ask you a question. We got viewers here, plenty of viewers that are watching this show, but we're going to ask, how do they reach you and how do they get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is to visit my website, and it's called driventobebetter.com.
Nice.
Nice.
driventobebetter.com, all one word, correct?
All one word. You win the spelling bee, Jason.
We can post it up on YouTube, and then for they'll hear it on all the Spotify and other channels.
I love it. Absolutely brilliant.
Okay. So, Scott, do you have any other questions?
I am excited about where we're at, but I would love to just thank you for coming and spending time with us and taking time out of your schedule to come and share your time with us and let us go down your magical psyche highway today.
And
I love this magical psyche highway. This is such a great. Do we have t-shirts made up of this yet?
We do.
We do. And they're not even on. Oh, my heart. I can't wait to see the t-shirts.
We even have a song.
I want to hear the song.
I'll send it to you. So,
okay.
a couple more questions for you. Because before we talked, you talked about timeline.
Yeah.
And I just asked you a great question about your future. But I'm going to ask you a question. That hurt kid, the one that was feeling all that shame and that pain.
Oh, yeah.
What do you want to tell that right now?
Oh, I love that. I spend a lot of time with younger parts, and the things that I often tell her is that it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to feel the way you feel. It's okay to be screaming. It's okay. And really helping those parts, especially when we're talking about parts therapy or if we're talking about regression, and helping them establish a place where they can feel safer, they can feel calmer, especially for anybody that is struggling with food. There's so much going on, and we're constantly working for safety. We're constantly working to feel grounded, to feel calmer. And food is a great way to help bring that down back into our body. If we race up to our head, when we eat so much, we get grounded back down. So the blood shift changes, the chemical hormonal balance changes. So if you're noticing, especially that inner voice, if you're hearing a younger inner voice and it's you screaming or being upset or feeling like you're not heard, go to that version of you. Spend time with that version of you and let them know that it's okay, that it's over. You're here to protect them, and helping them understand, helping that part understand it's okay. That is a massively powerful thing to be able to help them do, and yourself.
And then you're no longer a victim of your past.
And then you're no longer a victim of your past.
Nice. Nice. So now for our viewers, Lenora, what are your words of wisdom that you're going to leave with us?
Oh, words of wisdom. Oh, bananas. I was not prepared for this. Keep going. Keep looking for solutions. Keep looking for ways to help yourself. People absolutely want to help you. Allow yourself to be curious as to how they can help support you. So keep going. How about you?
Awesome.
What are your words of wisdom today? Scott and Jason.
Oh, well, I would just say that you want to add action to that too.
Ah, there you go.
Perspective is everything.
Perspective is everything. Yeah.
Scott, do you have any other questions or anything?
Once you change it, it's everything else. Oh, I'm cutting in and out, it seems.
Yes. Lenora, do you have anything you want to add?
It was a pleasure spending time with both of you. Thank you so much. And thank you to your listeners.
The pleasure is all ours. We're so glad to have you. We're grateful to have you here. And for our viewers, we're glad to have you here as well. And if you like us, give us the thumbs up. If you think we're assholes, just give us a thumbs down. We don't care. We just ask that you continue to show up. You come back, you invite your friends, and you share it. So hopefully we'll see you here next week. We're looking forward to it, and thanks for coming.
Wow, what a trip. Thanks for taking that journey with us today. Please like us, share us, and enlighten us with your views of the topics we drove into today. We appreciate you and love reading your comments. Thanks again, and we hope to see you back on the bus next week. That's right.